Okay, today what we're going to be doing is roasted vegetables. I'm not exactly sure how my camera is positioned here, so hopefully this is getting everything in. So the first thing we're going to do is actually carrots. Everything here is going to be roasted today. So I've got a sheet pan prepared, put foil on it because I'm a little bit lazy. I don't want to have to clean my pan or scrub it too hard, so I always line it with foil. I've got my carrots here, I've got some cauliflower today, and a little bit of broccoli. You can roast pretty much any vegetable that you can find in the grocery store. You can roast green beans, you can roast asparagus, you can roast tomatoes. They get a little bit soggy, it depends on how you do them. Brussels sprouts, different cabbages, you can pretty much roast anything. But we're gonna do what I've got here today because I'm hungry. So carrots, I'm just gonna take and cut them into small pieces. What I've already done over here is I took a little bit of coconut oil, and I put it in a bowl. I set it on a burner. I melted it. And even though you can probably see my microwave in the picture here, I don't use the microwave anymore because it irradiates food and we're trying to stay away from stuff that's adding chemicals and pollutants to our body. So I quit using the microwave. Do pretty much everything on the stovetop, including heating up my coffee in the morning. I use my little pot to reheat my coffee instead of reheating coffee in the microwave. What I have found out is it doesn't take any more time and I'm not getting the radiation and the pollution from the microwave, so that's a good thing. So I've got my salt, I've got some black pepper. What I just now threw in there, I already had some dill cut up, so that was fresh organic dill. I've got my carrots in there, I've got my coconut oil in there. I'm adding a little bit of black pepper to it. And you don't see me really measuring anything because I don't typically measure anything. I do have a background in cooking, which is why I don't really hesitate to just throw stuff in there. So you'll get used to that as you keep cooking more and more for yourself. And then we're just gonna throw that right there on top of the pan. I'm gonna throw a little bit more of this dill on here. I love the dill. Dill actually is a natural way to help curb sugar cravings. So if you're having issue with sugar cravings, think about eating more dill. I'm gonna give my little bowl a rinse. And then I'm gonna cut up my broccoli. So I cut the stem end down if it's old looking. And then I just take it down into pieces. However you cut your broccoli is fine. You just want it in pieces that will be good for roasting. And then again, we're just throwing that right into the pan or to the bowl. And this time, I'm using black cumin oil, black cumin seed oil, very nutty in flavor. Sometimes I'll use sesame seed oil or peanut oil if you don't have a peanut issue. But we'll just toss that around and add a little bit. I like something with a little bit nuttier flavor, so you can play with different oils. People talk sometimes about the different melting points or the different heat points that you have with oil, but for what we're doing, you're not going to have any issue. So I've got my oven set here at 350 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and throw some salt and pepper on this. Give that another little toss. Make sure it's all nicely coated. So you get all these nice different flavors from the coconut oil to the black cumin oil, or if you're using sesame seed oil or whatever different kinds of oil you might have. I love playing with different oils just because that's fun. I'm going to rinse my bowl out one more time, reuse it again. Now for any of you who have ever had a hard time cutting up cauliflower, I'm going to show you the easiest way I know how. Right through the bag and through everything. I just cut right straight through it. I go at 2 different angles, so I'm cutting it like in quarters. And then I just take each quarter and I take the center out. Right, so get rid of the green stuff, you don't want that there. And then, I'm actually going to use this one because that other one's not going to be big enough. And you're just going to break it apart. If it's got a big piece, go ahead and just cut it down. And all of these vegetables do have different cooking times. So the carrots are more dense. Obviously, they're going to take a little bit longer to cook, which is why we cut them the size we did. The broccoli will probably cook a little bit faster, but I put everything on the same sheet pan and I cook it to the quickest cooking vegetable. So if the broccoli cooks the quickest, when the broccoli is done, I pull everything out, which will leave some of this a little bit on the raw side, which is not an issue. We want to keep as many of the vitamin content packed in there as we can and keep all the nutrients intact. So again, just cutting up cauliflower. I do quite a bit of this at once usually. Usually I have more vegetables going on than this. I'll have beets and asparagus and the little cabbage heads, Brussels sprouts. I have all that kind of stuff going on all at the same time, so I have leftovers. So this is also kind of meal prepping and planning ahead. This will last me usually, if I do all the vegetables I normally do, will last me for about 3 days. And then I can pick and choose from which ones I eat. Let me get rid of my mess here. All right, once you've got your cauliflower in there, this time we're just going to use olive oil. This is a nice cold pressed olive oil. This is actually a really good peppery tasting olive oil. I actually love the flavor of it. Again, I'm just hitting this with salt and pepper. Running out of salt. And then on this one, I'm actually going to throw a little bit of basil. So this is a dried basil, organic, and then a little bit of dried organic oregano. The more herbs, the better, guys. You can never, never, never overdo your herbs. If you're trying to eat better and heal your body, this is actually parsley. We're going to go in for some parsley. I love parsley. Fresh is always nicer if you have it. If you don't, this works. Get back on there. So don't hesitate to throw tons of herbs onto your vegetables and into your food. Herbs are very, very healing. Lots of herbs have different properties that will help you in your healing process as far as killing parasites, killing different fungal problems you might have in your body, bacteria. Sometimes actually on my cauliflower I like to throw a little bit of clove. And sometimes, and I'll actually show you this too real quick, sometimes I will actually use my oils, the therapeutic grade oil. So this is actually ginger. This one's cinnamon. Somewhere I do have a clove oil. Let's see what else I have over here. I've got peppermint, dragon, thyme, and frankincense. Those don't really go well for cooking, but you can actually use the seasoning, the oils that are herbs or seasoning, you can use them in your cooking. When we were traveling around Costa Rica, I actually had all of my oils with me, and we had oregano, basil. I had all kinds of oils that were from herbs, and we were using them on our chicken. So we'd go buy a chicken and coat the chicken the outside because we didn't have fresh herbs to work with, and it worked just perfectly, and it tasted awesome. So know that you can do that. Anyway, so once you get this to this point, you want everything laid out in a single layer. And then we're just going to throw this right into the oven. And that's going to be in there for probably 8 minutes. I'm going to start it at. I'll check the broccoli. If the broccoli's starting to get tender, that's when I pull it out. So it's going to stay in the oven at 350 degrees to start with for about 8 minutes. We'll check it, we'll pull it out, and then we'll get to eat it. So this was roasting vegetables. If you have any questions, please PM me or contact me if you have any questions about doing this. The next thing we're going to actually do is chicken stock. So you'll see here I have a bag of chicken stock, and this is homemade. This is something that my husband and I actually make here all the time. So we roast our chickens, we bone them, and then we make our chicken stock, or our bone broth, I think is what people are calling it now. But we've been doing that for years. So the next video I make is going to be on chicken broth or bone broth, however you want to call it, and then how we do that around our meal planning. So we've got extra chicken left, and then we've got all this bone broth in the freezer. We can pull it out anytime we need it. Okay, bye for now. Thank you.